Good to go. All right, so we're going to split this topic off. I'm going to take Fedora and CentOS, and Dan's going to take Mint and something else. Arch. So Fedora, basically it's Red Hat Enterprise Linux beta version. And what that means is before any official feature is put into Red Hat Enterprise Linux, it is tested in Fedora for 4 full releases. And what better way to test new technology than to release it to the masses and let them break it. Fedora 25, you can download it in 3 different flavors: Workstation, Server, and Atomic. I had no idea there was this Atomic version.
What's Atomic?
Yeah, exactly. We'll get there in just a second. Description stolen straight from their website. I did not write this. Fedora Workstation is a polished, easy-to-use operating system for laptop, desktop computers with a complete set of tools for developers and makers of all kinds. Server is a powerful, flexible operating system that includes the best and latest data center technologies and puts you in control of all your infrastructure services. And finally, Atomic. Fedora Atomic provides the best platform for your Linux, Docker, Kubernets application stack. This is way out of the scope of tonight's topic. But you know, anybody want to volunteer to present on Atomic, please let us know. I'd like to learn more about it and how to use it.
So is this supposed to be like a VM part of it, or?
Docker is an application. It's kind of like VMs.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But it's Docker.
So you mentioned cubes earlier, so I didn't know if that was part of this thing.
No, cubes is the cube.
Okay, so anyway.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows anything about this LDK stuff and wants to present, I'd like to hear it. So is there any confusion about Linux desktops and servers and blah, blah, blah? You can have a GUI with your, can you have a GUI with your server install? Well, yeah. All right, your choice of GNOME, KDE, XFCE, Cinnamon, and how many others? I don't know.
Enlightenment.
So much that we got saturated.
Exactly, yeah. Can you have a server with your workstation install? Yeah, you can install it. You can have it, your workstation and then install Apache, a web server, Nginx, MySQL, DB2, print server, file server, whatever you want on your workstation. So why do you have to choose between a workstation and a server? Well, the old cliche used to be, are you a sculptor or a molder? Meaning, do you start with this giant chunk and then whittle your way down? Or do you start with a little piece of clay and then build it up and build it up and build it up? So Red Hat started packaging their GUI and development tools in their workstation distros, and they packaged their enterprise server tools with no GUI or dev tools in their server releases. So that's the difference between the servers and the workstations. Any questions so far?
So the workstation
missing
is
bullet?
What? Who?
What's your missing bullet?
That was just a space. I didn't remove it. Something back there?
So workstation just has a GUI and a server is just a command line. That basically.
And what tools come with it?
Oh.
The workstation has lots of workstation base install comes with development tools. The server, the distro does not. Yes.
In this instance, what's the difference between workstation, distro, and server release?
In this,
Yeah.
what I just said.
They started packaging their GUI and development tools in the workstation distro.
Workstation distro, right?
And they added their enterprise tools
No,
in the
that's
server release.
the server tool. The server has, the server has this enterprise server tools, but no GUI and no development tools.
Okay.
It's basically the default package allotment. As
So
far as I
same as
know,
workstation without
all-
GUI and dev tools.
all of each
Yep.
one of them have the same repository. It's just that the starter packages that you come with, server may not have GUI, whereas workstation will.
Got it.
The server may not have OpenOffice installed, but
Workstation like
workstation does.
somebody's computer.
Right.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Is either one by default more locked down, security-wise?
probably the server, because you would have less packages installed.
Well, funny you should mention that. Workstation by default does not have SSH installed. Server by default does. So, who knows? Workstation download. This is new with Fedora 25. It has this Fedora Media Writer program that you use. You install it. It's a small program. It installs on Windows, Mac, or Linux, and it downloads the image for you and it writes it to a bootable thumb drive. Yeah, I did not do that. I just downloaded the live ISO file and ran from there.
You ran it from the VirtualBox or you installed it?
Yeah, I run it through VirtualBox, at least on this computer. And they also have a 464 megabyte net install image. Like I said, I haven't had to use one of those since I got on broadband. If you still have dial-up modems, then net install images probably isn't a bad thing.
Pretty big still.
464
or if
megs
you're
over
bored.
dial-up is
Yeah.
that's still a good overnight.
That's
Yeah,
pretty much
exactly.
the entire installer. That's for the base packages.
Yeah.
That's 2 days if it's a 6K.
That's one of those ones like you double click the exe and it starts downloading for you.
All right, so installing this stuff, I did it under VirtualBox. For either server or for workstation, you want to give your workstation at least 2 gig of RAM. Give at least 10 gigabytes of hard drive space. I forgot to double check actually how much it used. But I think 10 is a good size for a workstation to start with. I always set my Ethernet device to bridged. That way I can SSH into it if I need to. If you set it up via NAT, you cannot SSH into your VM. And then set the CD-ROM to the ISO that you downloaded and boot it up.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes?
One of the, like at my previous job, like a lot of the cloud/Linux people were using Macs.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly it was because they have a built-in SSH client. Is that something that
BSD.
Windows just doesn't have, or is that what PuTTY basically is for?
All right. Say the question one more time. Is that?
Is
Talking about
the
SSH
reason that
functionality.
the people working on cloud, like doing like cloud support, cloud engineering, are using Macs because of the built-in SSH client?
I mean, you can use PuTTY via or on your Windows box. You can download PuTTY and install it. You
It
cannot.
just
You
seems strange
usually
to me
don't.
that Mac would have a built-in SSH client, whereas Windows wouldn't, where you had to use something, honestly, that is
Mac is built on
cumbersome as hell as PuTTY.
I think we would agree that people that use Mac don't use it just because it has an SSH client.
Yeah.
An SSH client can be added to a Windows machine very easily. It's just a program. It's just a terminal program.
As somebody that's using a Mac now for my work, that's the only Mac that I have. My choices were Linux, Mac, and Windows, and because they locked down how you could do Linux so bad at work, it was really like you had to use their particular Linux, and it was hard to get packages, and it was really archaic, and it failed a lot. So it was choice of Windows to be in compliance with Mac. Well, with a Mac, you have a native Unix environment. I can install things and use a terminal for literally everything that I want to do. It is cumbersome sometimes. Mac tries to stop you from doing a lot of stuff, but in a comfort environment, when you're talking about somebody that's a Linux user like 90% of the time, it's much more comfortable because you can basically do everything in the shell, and the terminals that they have are a lot nicer than the ones Windows has. So I can do like alpha blending, I can do multi screen, all kinds of stuff with the couple of terminal emulators that they have. Like I think I use iTerm, which isn't the default one. I use there's another program you can download, and it's very nice. It has, like, if you wanted to, you can do macros, you can do multiple windows in one window, you can do alpha blending, so you can actually see stuff behind the window, you can do nice colors and stuff. Whereas the Windows crowd just doesn't have anything like that.
More user friendly?
I wouldn't say that.
No, I mean the Mac.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, because Mac is natively running off of BSD. Like the Mac operating system is just kind of like a GUI for BSD.
No, it is actually BSD. It's a real Unix. They're certified.
Just like Android.
Yeah, so it's
Android is not BSD.
No, Android's Linux. But and so the shell is actually a real functional shell. Can't you also, like, for example, what Mac's native shell is which one?
All right, we're way off topic.
We're
Yeah.
off topic pretty good.
We're out of scope.
Yeah, exactly, way out of scope. All right, so anyway, start Fedora workstation, tab up to the top one. It's going to prompt you to click this giant blue button in the middle. You can try out the live distro, or you can hit install to hard drive. All right, I opted to install from hard drive, or install to hard drive. It's going to ask you to select a language. I suggest English, but you know, if you want to be crazy, go for it. Try something else.
Simplified Jenny.
All right, so this is the hardest part, maybe the hardest part of the whole thing. Select system up here where it says installation destination, and it says automatic partitioning is selected. You actually have to go in there and click the done button in the upper left-hand corner, and that will automatically configure partitioning for you. If you want to have it encrypt your hard drive, you can check the box underneath that says encrypt my data, and then it will prompt you for a passphrase to put in.
Using Loose.
Using loops, yep. If you want to do this manually, you will click I will configure partitioning by yourself, and it will step you through the processes. I'm not going to go through that right now. I'm just going to say let it do itself. Right? So it will build its own boot partition, and then it will lay out the rest in an LVM partition. If you choose do nothing, you will get this. And dev SDA1 is your boot partition, and dev SDA2 is everything else, and it's an LVM partition. Network and host name, lies. It's really only for the host name. And I think this just started in Fedora 25. If you click network and host name, no, wait, stop, go back. Yeah, you click network and host name, blue button there, and it will prompt you to enter a host name. And it will tell you, hey, you configure the network settings now from the GUI, once it's already installed. Yep.
They used to have network stuff.
Yeah, they used to. Yep, I agree 100%. It used to be there.
Well, that's stupid.
Now you have to do it manually?
You do it via the little network icon.
Yeah.
Ah, right there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Really. Now, maybe it did that because it already found that I was set up for DHCP and you got an address. But there was no option in network and host name on the Fedora 25 install to set up the network. And it tells you, use the GUI to do this. And then you hit begin install, lower right hand corner, and it does its thing. And then while it's installing, you set your root password and you add yourself a user. I said Rob and make this user an administrator. That lets you sudo. It's kind of important. If you want to change the user ID and add yourself to other groups, you can click the advanced button. I opted not to do that. And then click done. And the install will finish and tell you to reboot. So if you're using VirtualBox, eject the boot media and reboot/reset the VM. And then you log in as your new user. Yay!
And you can delete us.
So,
And then,
I have another question.
once it reboots, yes,
I somehow found a free training on CentOS
Okay.
on Udemy, and it just so happened that that's the version I was trying to learn. It had me create a profile like that, but every time I log in to actually do anything, it has me log in as root. Is that so I don't have to do sudo for everything?
if you log in as your user, then you should be able to sudo sudo --i in a terminal, and then you can become root. Or you can do a command as sudo --command, and it will prompt you for a password, and
Right.
it will run that command as root for that one time, right?
So there's really no reason to log in as root every time?
You should not log in as